Hello friends, welcome to my channel once again. Today we are going to discuss about engine cycle analysis and performance analysis for turbojet with afterburner, turbofan engine, turboprop engine. So here we can see a schematic diagram of turbojet engines. So here we will be having from section A to 2 we will be having an intake section, and from 2 to 3 compression, 3 to 4 combustion, and 4 to 5 we will be having a turbine, 4 5 to 6 we will be having afterburner section, and from 6 to 7 we will be having a nozzle. So the different process in a turbojet cycle engine are as follows. From A to 1, air from far upstream is brought to the air intake, that is of diffuser, with some acceleration or deceleration. From 1 to 2, air is decelerated as it passes through the diffuser. From 2 to 3, air is compressed in compressor, that is axial or centrifugal compressor. Then from 3 to 4, the air is heated using combustion chamber or burner. Then 4 to 5, the air is expanded in a turbine to obtain power to drive the compressor. From 5 to 6, the air may or may not be further heated in an afterburner by adding further fuel. From 6 to 7, the air is accelerated and exhausted through the nozzle. So here we can see ideal cycle for turbojet engine. From A to 3, we will be having a compression process. From 3 to 4, we will be having a combustion process where we'll be maintaining a constant pressure, and from 4 to 7 we'll be having an expansion process. So here we can see we can see a numbering of 5, where we are from 4 to 5 we'll be having a turbine section, but from 5 to 7 we are not going to use any afterburner, so we'll be having a uniform expansion process. So here it can be shown as ideal turbojet cycle without afterburning on a TS diagram. So here afterburning means what? Afterburning used when an aircraft needs a substantial increment in thrust, for example to accelerate to and cruise cruise supersonic speeds. Since the air fuel ratio in gas turbine engine are much greater than the stoichiometric values, there is sufficient amount of air available for combustion at the turbine exit. There are no rotating components like a turbine in the afterburner. The temperature can be taken to much higher values than that at turbine entry. So here we can see a variation from 5 to 7. So here, from as usual in the previous diagram without afterburner, we will be having from A to 3 a compression process, and from 3 to 4 an combustion process. Then we will be having an expansion from 4 to 5, and from 5 to 6a we will be having additional amount of heat. That is where in afterburner we are going to add some amount of fuel, and we are going to make the gases to excite much more, so that the heat will be increased much more. So from 6a to 7a we will be having an expansion process. From 7a we will be leaving to the exhaust. From 6 to 7 we will be leaving everything to the exhaust. Ideal turbofan engine. Propulsion efficiency is a function of exhaust velocity to flight speed ratio. This can be increased by reducing the effective exhaust velocity. In a turbofan engine, a fan of a larger diameter than a compressor is used to generate a mass flow higher than the core mass flow. This ratio is called bypass ratio. Turbofan engines have a high propulsive efficiency as compared with turbojet engines operating in a same speed range. So here we can see a schematic of an unmixed turbofan engine and a station numbering scheme. So here we can see the same things. A 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, depending on the zones we have divided these things, and on the top we will be having 2 dash 3 dash and 7 dash, as we will be having complementary schematic diagrams. So here you can see schematic of a mixed turbofan engine and station numbering scheme. So here we will be going to mix everything, that is bypass air and combusted air at the nozzle section. So we will be calling it as mixed turbofan engine. So the different processes in an unmixed turbofan cycle are as follows. From A to 1, air flow far upstream is brought to the air intake, or that is diffuser, with some acceleration or deceleration. From 1 to 1 dash, air is decelerated as it passes through the diffuser. From 2 dash to 3 dash, air is compressed in an fan. From 2 to 3, air is compressed in a compressor, that is axial or centrifugal compressor. From 3 to 4, the air is heated using combustion chamber. Then from 4 to 5, the air is expanded in a turbine to obtain power to drive the compressor. From 5 to 6, the air may or may not be further heated in an afterburner by adding further fuel. From 6 to 7, the air is accelerated and exhausted through the primary nozzle. From 3 dash to 7 dash, the air is bypassed. Air in the bypass duct is accelerated and expanded through the secondary nozzle. Ideal turboprop engine. Turboprop engines generate a substantial shaft power addition to nozzle thrust. Turboshaft engine generates only shaft power. These engines are used in helicopters. The shaft power is used to drive the main rotor blades. In a turboprop engine, the advantages and the limitations are those of the propeller. Both turboprops and turboshafts have applications at relatively lower speeds. So here we can see a schematic of typical turboprop engine or turboshaft engine. So here, as usual, we'll be having a propeller in front, and a driving mechanism of gear will be connected to a shaft. That then it follows with a compressor, then combustor, and then a turbine, and then an exhaust, that is nozzle. So turboprops and turboshafts usually have a free turbine or power turbine to drive the propeller or the main rotor blade, that is turboshaft. Stress limitations require that the large diameter propeller rotates at a much lower rate, and hence a speed reducer is required. Turboprops may also have a thrust component due to the jet exhaust in addition to the propeller thrust. In turboshaft, however, there is no thrust component due to the nozzle. In turboprops, thrust consists of two components, the propeller thrust and the nozzle thrust. The total thrust of propeller is equal to the sum of nozzle thrust and the propeller thrust. So here we can see enthalpy entropy diagram for power turbine exhaust nozzle analysis. From 5 to 6 and 6 to 7, how the enthalpy and entropy variation will be seen because of the shape of the nozzle. So here from in zone 5 to 6, we will be having alpha delta H as an enthalpy difference, and then from 5 to 7 we'll be having change in enthalpy. With this, we'll be closing this session. Thank you. If you like the video, please do like, share and subscribe.